of AI and data, smart data and Etisalat. And today, the panelists that will be joining me in this amazing discussion, we have Siham Al-Bahisi, which is a general manager of digital and connected cars. Before, she was working in GM with customer experience. Then she has also joined the Middle East Renault Group. She has a lot of experience on automation industry. She also has been 3 months doing some course in MIT around AI strategy and roadmap. And also she is very active member in the different professional board and committee. She will bring a lot of expertise on the automation area. Welcome, Siham. Then with the second panelist we have is Pradeep Rawat. He is coming from the banking and reinsurance. He works for Dubai Islamic Insurance, Aman Insurance. He's the head of program management office. Before that, he was working for Nielsen, Kantar, Philips, and many others. He is also a visiting professor at different business schools. So he brings that expertise between academia and the industry. Welcome, Pradeep, as well. Our third esteemed panelist, Masroor Siddiqui. He's the lead data scientist for analytics in AI in the First Abu Dhabi Bank. Also, he's coming from the banking industry. I think he has a large experience in the banking. He was before as part of American Express and Royal Bank of Scotland. Welcome, Masroor, as well. And our final panelist is Jad Jabour. He's the sales director, Middle East for Denodo. Denodo, as you might know, is a solution provider in data virtualization. Before that, he was part of other solution and consultancy company like TIBCO and others. Welcome, Jad. We were supposed to have another panelist, Abdul Mohsin. Unfortunately, he has a personal problem. He wouldn't be joining us, and wishing him all the best. So this is the panelists. I welcome all of them. We are expecting to have a huge discussion around this. We have 50 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So there is time to get all the experts. Before I jump to the specific question, we have two parts. One, which is general approach and understanding about the landscape AI in general in the industries. And second one is more specific, and we will be touching base mainly in 2 or 3 industries. We'll explain that later. So to get ready for the next digital transformation and 4th industrial revolution that is happening now, it seems that all the customers are starting or trying to adopt AI. Now, AI has attracted much public attention and in many years now, and there is a huge discussion around its impact. Technology, economy, social development, even from the philosophical side of it, which is the bias and how we can have, a fairness algorithm within AI. So this AI adoption is increasing, but is bringing additionally challenges. And organization must understand what can AI do for them and what cannot do for them. And some of the challenges are linked to people, culture, even sometimes leadership. It's not very clear. One of the major hurdle in AI adoption is how AI will change the existing business processes and structure. So to deep dive on these specific challenges, because the panel discussion is around leveraging AI and facing associated challenges, we have this expert. And my first question would be for my esteemed panelists, to mention shortly a specific use case, very practical use case from their industry before talking about the challenges. And I will start, of course, with ladies, Ms. Siham. Appreciate if you can tell us from your industry, how do you see that? Thank you.
So thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. And it's really a pleasure to be part of this session today. If I want to start with a very specific case, let's say, of the use of AI or even the big data on mobility in general sector, and especially in UAE, I would say, or I will start with my favorite example about the use of AI for the safety of passengers here on the road with Dubai. The implementation of RTA, the authority which started actually the implementation of the use of artificial intelligence to monitor the driving behaviors of the taxi drivers, so they can give them some suggestions or even try to improve that, or even offer that specific trainings, or even, let's say, kind of motivation, or I mean, to integrate this part of the training program. The other use was also during COVID lockdown, when actually, if you remember, those are living in UAE, when we needed to have a kind of online permission first by Dubai police, or even UAE police in general, to request for a movement from home to whatever the location, if it is hospital or whatever. So based on the movement of the car, with the use of data and the movement of the car, of course, there are multiple attributes here, like the mobile itself, the car, the plate number, whatever. So use of that, the system was able to evaluate if the trip was really necessary, if it was going through the right direction, and then again, consider this for the next permission for that specific request of that user. So there are multiple applications here for the use of AI in the automotive industry, and it goes far beyond the whole ecosystem, which is not only limited to the same hype and headlines that we used to hear initially about the use of AI that's only working for autonomous driving. No, it goes beyond that. So
brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being concise and precise in your answer and respecting the time. I would also invite my next colleague, probably Siddiqui, if you want.
Yeah. Hi.
Tell us about your specific use case in your industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Kader. So I'm from banking and financial industry, wherein we spend a lot of money in onboarding new customers, and then once we have the customer, it's very difficult to sell them new products. So the call center, the different campaigns that we have, we spend a lot of money to to sell them new products. So the customer analytics team in a bank is plays a very crucial role, wherein they know how to make the best use of the customer lifetime, wherein they can sell them new products. So as a data scientist, we create some models wherein lifetime model through which we understand the whole value will have life, then double revenue that they will bring to the bank. So the team can divide the customer so that they can target specifically those customers according to the bank direction. And then there is one more model
Siddiqui, I think there is some problem with your connectivity. We will try to fix that. And in the meanwhile, we will jump to another colleague, probably Pradeep, if you would like to take it from here, and then we can come back to Siddiqui.
Yes, it was general problem. Thanks for clarifying that. So we wait for him. Thank you. You continue.
Yeah, we will continue with Pradeep. Thank you. Thank you, Musa.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kader. Just wanted to check if you guys can hear me clearly.
Yes, clear.
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
First of all, thanks so much for setting up the panel discussion so beautifully. I think the context that you laid out in terms of AI, in terms of the opportunity that can bring across industries and across functions, right? And of course, not every opportunity can be fully realized because there are always challenges, and AI also poses its own challenges. Thank you for introducing me as well, because I think you managed to touch upon the varied experience that I have from my data analysis days with Nielsen, where basically I looked into structured data, then we moved on to unstructured data, and now obviously working on the business side, and handling data and business related questions. Of course, it's also important to touch upon, what is AI all about, right? What are we talking about? So AI is about different components, different functionalities that it can deliver. For example, AI could be about computer vision, AI could be about natural language processing, AI could be as simple as chatbots, AI could be robotic process automation. So there are different facets to what people would call as AI. Now, we talk about use cases. Of course, use cases have to be practical. They have to be relevant to the industry, of course, and they also have to have a business impact, a proven business impact, because otherwise we don't want to have technology for the sake of technology, right? So that's the whole point. Talking about insurance specifically, right? The core processes in insurance are underwriting and claims. These are the two processes which kind of differentiate insurance from any other industry. And these are the cases where you see a lot of different use cases. These are the functions where you see a lot of different use cases. We had a brilliant presentation just earlier today by Mr. Manoj Mishra from Union Insurance, wherein he touched upon fraud detection. That's one brilliant case of, insurance as an industry overall operates on the basis of good faith. So you are, promising that you'll cover any losses from the insured in terms of any eventualities. But then there could be misuse as well. So which is what he kind of covered very clearly in terms of fraud detection. While he spoke about health insurance more, I'm going to touch a bit upon motor insurance, and I'm going to touch upon computer vision specifically. Now imagine a case where there's been an accident and there's a claim for an insurance, right? And what happens physically nowadays is that somebody from the insurance company has to actually go and physically inspect the car in a garage with and they have to look at all the damages to the car. Now that's a very time consuming and process driven approach. Imagine a case where you could have images uploaded from all angles. They are run through a model. The model itself has been trained historically with large data sets in order to understand what does a normal car look like, what does a damaged car look like, what is the extent of damage. And based on this machine learning, basically you get an estimate in terms of, is the quote for the damage to the car, fixing the damage to the car, is it practical, is it under a certain range? So this is, I think, a very, very specific case using machine learning, machine vision, which is like a core component of AI, and in motor insurance specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, a great example. I think we all are, at least as a user, very familiar with that use cases. Thank you for shedding some light on that. We will come back to that industry and that specific example. Now I will request Mr. Jad Jabbour, because he's bringing probably different angle how to see AI and machine learning. All of us, I think, we are more on the industry side. I think he's on the other side of the vendors or providers of the ones that build this kind of tools. Correct me if I'm wrong, and please share with us some insights.
Absolutely right. Actually, we are as a technology provider. Our core business is data. So this is Denodo what we do, and Denodo has been in the market for quite some time, working on a virtualization layer. So as you know, nowadays all customers, they face some issues in deploying AI and ML, and all these issues comes from data quality, data quantity, and labeling. So enterprises, they need to analyze and reconfigure their data management. And even though machine learning, it will require a large amounts of data to function. So it's common that nowadays that you need to do a self-service, or you need your data in real time, and you need it in streaming data. So most of the enterprises and applications are not made in the same way, and companies needs to do a lot of configuration on the data infrastructure, enable to have a set of data in a good manner. So here it's really where Denodo will have a major and key role in facilitating your AI adoption, all ML use cases.
Yeah, great to hear that. We will deep dive on that aspect as well from the technology provider later on. I don't know if we have Sadiki back.
Not yet. We continue.
Not yet.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
perfect.
he's here. He's here.
He's here. All right. So let's ask him to share with us his view again, and probably if you can, as short as possible, so we can move to the next point. The floor is yours, Sadiki. Can you hear us? Hello?
Siddiqui, we don't hear you.
We can't hear you, Sadiki. All right, Musin,
Sure,
if you don't mind.
Sorry, I think some network problem.
No, I'm still having problem there. We
Okay,
cannot
so-
hear you properly. I think we
Yes.
can move to the next point if you allow us.
Yes, please.
All right. Sadiki, we'll come back to you once we have better connectivity.
Quality, yes. Once the
Well,
internet
quality.
is better connection, please let me know by chatting. Then we can give you back in the microphone, Siddiqui.
Absolutely. All right. So that's great. We set up the context for this discussion. I think all the experts, they are giving some good insights about their industry, specific use cases. Now, one of the things that probably you've heard that a lot of people are adopting AI, and how are they doing that worldwide? As per, I think there is a Gartner study and assessment about that 14% of the global CIO has already deployed some kind of AI and machine learning algorithm, and around 48 to 50% by end of this year, they will be, implementing AI technology. So let's again come back to our panelists and requested them to shed some light about the overall landscape worldwide, not only in UAE, but worldwide and in the region. How do you see this adoption? And again, I will request Ms. Siham to start.
Thank you. So when we talk about the AI adoption, it varies across the industry segments, also the organizational functions and regions around the world. And this is what's happening in the, let's say, automotive in the industry. And as I mentioned, when the hype and high expectation that initially came with AI then turned muted, because first it was focusing more into the use of AI around enabling autonomous driving, but also the use actually, which goes far beyond that, was actually mainly of using, or it goes into every facet of the car making a process, be it in engineering, design, production, or even supply chain management. And we started to see that the AI usage or even implementation, it's helping to improve not only the business operations, but also the customer or the driving experience. When we talk about business operations, as I mentioned, in every facet of the making of the car, or even the supply chain risk management, or also when we talk about improving the driving experience or even the customer experience, here we talk about the introduction of the future car, which is going to be clean, smart, connected. When we talk about connected, that the future car, which will be part of our living style, or let's say the new connected living style, because everything now is being connected, and also the car will be more connected to us with the voice recognition, virtual assistant, and with the launch of 5G. So the car will be also connected to our home, exactly like mobile phones. And here we start to see a new different or even different way of using or even managing our cars, and different level of services, which will be also, by the way, the new differentiator for the future for owning or even using, or buying a car, or even selecting a new mobility system or mobility service, sorry. So we can see that there are now, right now, we see dual transformation, both digital and technology, as well as also business transformation across the globe with multiple brands. And we can see, for example, in our case, Group Renault, which has recently actually accelerated the adoption of Industry 4.0 and made a lot of actions, whether on the business transformation side, as well as also the technology side, including new partnerships with key players, technology partners, new startups. So there are multiple, let's say, actions happening around the world on this automotive industry to take benefit of these emerging technologies.
Thank you, Siham, for that contribution. Since we have Sadiki back again, Sadiki, now we are jumping to talk about the overall landscape of AI adoption worldwide and in the region as well. So please share with us your point of view. Can you hear us? Hello?
Yeah, sorry for that network problem at my end. Okay,
no
so
problem.
Right now, AI and data analytics is being only used by top companies which are using data, which are collecting data from several sources. But as we progress, we see each and every business. You take small or medium business; they are doing business through mobile banking. You have Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. So they are collecting data from so many sources. So now small players are also coming into picture where they want to use their data. So I can see that currently these all data practices are focused on region basis. So in Asia Pacific region, we see only retail brands and banking companies. They are only focused on AI practices. But when you go to Europe, you can see that companies which are selling beds, mattresses, even salons, they are also using data. They have data scientists. So it all also depend on the kind of culture which a region brings, which the company brings. So adopting AI is completely dependent on the CEO also of the company. Wherein I see that even if you hire a data scientist and you try to mine data and bring some value out of it, until the whole company has a data kind of mindset, you will not be able to use your AI properly. So that is my take on it.
Perfect. Thank you, Sadiki, and welcome back. From the technology providers, partners, or vendors, how do you see that adoption? Because I'm sure you are present worldwide and you can have these insights. Jad, what do you think?
Actually, if you want to take more deep look at this, we can find that the main problem or main issues here is data. So customers has been working for quite some time nowadays in order to find the right data, because there is lot of data in different applications, and at the end what you really need is the metadata, or the data that gives you the right decision. So if I take a look back from 7 years when I started to work really deep on data at that time in TIPCO, the concept of visualization was new. The concept of having a middleware was also a little bit new. I'm talking about this region. Nowadays, in 2021 and 2020, we can see that customer has really into a place where they are mature enough to adopt technologies like AI and ML. And new challenges definitely will come by these adoptions. And here where Odinodo and different also technology provider will play a major role by making this adoption more easy and more smooth to the customer.
Perfect. Thank you for that input. Pradeep, how do you see it from the overall, especially in the industry that you are linked worldwide and in the region?
Yeah, I think my fellow panelists have actually covered a lot of the good points. So I'll just keep my answer very brief. And I'll keep it very broad as well. Now we talk about AI technologies. Now technology is at the core of it, right? And we've historically seen technology moving in a certain way across the world. It typically incubates in certain parts of the world because there's a whole ecosystem which is set up over there. The Middle East surely is catching up. Yeah, I'm not saying we're at the forefront of every innovation, of course, right? But I think the infrastructure and the ecosystem that has been created by different entities, whether it's the governments or the regulators, or if it's the industry leaders, for example, I think the infrastructure is slowly being built, right? We also need talent, right? Now, the talent could be in terms of importing talent into the UAE and the broader region, or the talent could be in terms of companies, like Tableau and Data IQ and Denodo, those coming into the Middle East, right, and establishing a strong presence. I think these are the drivers, and this is what will help us kind of, not just catch up, but also lead the industry in the future.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for being more precise on your answer and short. We are reaching almost half of the time that we dedicated here, and we need to jump to the main section as per the panel title, which is the challenges in adopting AI and how we solve these challenges. According to Gartner, also there are top challenges in AI and machine learning adoption. And those challenges, according to Gartner, they try to classify it in a big bucket or big groups. They talk about the enterprise maturity, skills. I think you touched base on that, some of you. The fear of unknown. This is a new technology. We don't know how to adopt it. Finding a starting point, where to start, which use case, how to engage others, what is our strategy. And also from the vendor part, how to integrate different ecosystem with the new providers, confusion about the vendor capability on running this. So this is quite interesting elements, and I would invite again my colleagues and esteemed panelists to talk about what are the major challenges either you or your customer or other from the industry are facing in deploying AI, and if you can share a specific use cases. I will start this with time with Jad, and then we can continue. Jad, please.
Okay, actually, if you want to look at from architectural perspective, because I want to enter into some use cases. Any enterprise, big enterprises, they have on the consumer level different data science platform, different BI level, BI dashboarding tools. If you want to have a report or to the management, one visualization will give you a different report than the others, even though these reports could be from historical data and not accurate to a certain point that you need to take a real-time an immediate decision. And if you want to go more deeper, this comes all because there is no a real consolidation or a real pipe where data can be find or segregated into one single place. So nowadays customers wants to reduce amount of work. They want to have the data immediately in real time. They don't want to move the data. They don't want to store the data. They don't want to replicate the data. And at the end, the major output that they need is to have a reporting on time and in real time. This is where really come Denodo into the game. And one of the challenges, the main challenges, is that since you have a big architecture or a huge architecture of different applications, these data can come into a spaghetti or a mesh, and you will not be able to seriously dig into where your data is resides. And here also it's a part of the technology provider to provide the right platform in order to facilitate the infrastructure and be able to, whatever you have as a BI tool or data science tool, to have a single output or a single report.
Brilliant. Technology, architecture, mashups, tools. These are some of the challenges that Jad is highlighting. What about other point of view, Sadiqi? How do you see these challenges in AI adoption?
So in our finance background, what happens is that the customer, if I talk about the internal customers, the stakeholders, wherein you have the senior leaderships, they are being presented with numbers from various teams, and sometimes the numbers are not aligned. So they are ultimately they are using different sources sometimes, or they are having their own definitions, their own algorithms, logic. So this is a bigger challenge wherein the end user is confused and they're not able to make decisions. So to solve this kind of problems, the bank or the financial institutions nowadays, they are roping into some big companies wherein they can have one consolidated, you can say data mart, or I can say a data lake, or a big data, whatever, and then they can have one single cube wherein which will be used as a golden source by each party of the institution for that kind of reporting. Even if you talk about simple KPIs like portfolio numbers, they should be aligned, and they should be used uh, uh, from that particular golden source only. So this is a challenge, and which can be solved by this idea.
Great. Thank you, Siddiqui. Technology, tools, visualizations, architecture, and now Siddiqui is mentioning other stuff from the leadership, internal stakeholders, adoption. Pradeep, can you tell us your view on the AI challenges in terms of adoption, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if there are challenges, I think these are people-related challenges more than anything else. In my mind, at least, and I'll stay away from technology as much as possible, because I think at the core of it, it's people, right? People in the right positions, whether they are decision makers or influencers, right? People with the right mindset in terms of growth. People with the mindset that they want to learn more about new technologies. People who know what kind of benefits that technology can achieve for companies, right? For me, I think people are the main challenges. And if you have the right people with the right mindset in the right places, then I think we can move forward much faster and with fewer road bumps. Thank you.
Yeah, great. I definitely agree with you on the people side. People in terms of skills, in terms of the quality and the governance at a leadership level, I think that's definitely key. Technology always can be improved, but that is something very important in AI adoption. Now I will request our colleague Siham, how do you see this challenge from your side?
Yeah, so on top of the technology challenge, struggling with the legacy systems that they don't talk to each other, question marks on the accuracy and availability of the data, training, mindset, skills. There are two specific challenges that we see in the automotive industry. First is that the adoption of AI varies across the entire ecosystem. So for example, you may see the OEMs are much more advanced in terms of tools or even technology than the suppliers or the dealers, so the dealers. So also to have the same kind of level of maturity across the ecosystem is also very important, because at the end, we don't sell directly the car to the customer, but it's through our dealers who needs to be in the same maturity level as us in terms of the use of the data or even the technology. The other challenge, which is very famous, and also it's the same challenge for other industries, as since the vehicles will be also connected to different platforms, smart cities structure. So here also we'll have new questions about the security, cyber security, which is becoming for us also a new dimension of the quality in the automotive industry. So let's say these are two key additional challenges we are still facing also.
Yeah, great. I think you covered it all. And I will take this opportunity, since you were mentioning specific key challenges in AI adoption in your industry, in the automotive industry, and how that's happening. I will request you, please, if you can, since this is the second section where we will talk specifically about industries, and the industry you are expert in is the automotive and auto in general. So in your opinion, is AI the answer to all the automotive industry trouble? How can how can this AI technology, new adoption helps them to solve? Probably, if the question is not all, at least which is the percentage that this new technology is bringing on the table?
Well, if we wanted to say it in one sentence, of course, AI offers a new future of creation of value across the whole ecosystem. It's one of the important technology tools that we have to use to unlock new organizational growth and values. But at the end, it's a tool. So what is really important is that we have to rethink the way we operate the organization, the product, innovation, customer experience, and etc. So this needs to be considered first and needs to be within a common vision, values within any organization. So as I mentioned, there should be a dual transformation, both business and technology transformation, in order to be able to adopt AI across not only the industry, but also internally across the different functions, because even it varies sometimes between the different departments or functions and the use of AI. So it could be the answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, and I can see that similar thing happening in my industry. As you know, I'm coming from the telecom industry, where I'm on the business side of it, which is the digital, but I can see my colleague having the same struggle and the same thing that you were mentioning. That's definitely is happening. Since we are talking about a specific industry, let's move to the other important industry, probably insurance and finance. And we can see there is a lot of try, there are a lot of fail, there's also a lot of probably success story. And I would request my colleagues specialized in this industry, according to you, which companies overall, just to give an example, either in the industry, in the insurance industry or in the banking industry, globally or regionally, that you think are leading the way in terms of AI? And if you can be more precise on giving specific example, if you can name an example of a customer and important use case, I think that helps the audience to grasp and understand how these companies are leading, and why not probably creating best practice and an example how to do the AI adoption. Pradeep, probably you would like to start?
Yep, absolutely. Talking about insurance specifically, there's one company which comes to my mind, which has been around only for a few years now, but it's kind of changed the whole insurance industry, and it's posing a large threat to the industry incumbents in the US. There's a company called Lemonade, which is like a unicorn plus now, and they took up a very, very simple but very effective use case of AI. They started using chatbots to manage their customer service and their claims management. The claims processing, claims management. This kind of took away a large part of the time that was taken, for some processes which were very repetitive and which could be easily. So they basically build chatbots, they train the models, and they're reaping the rewards for this. While there are a lot of other companies as well globally which are doing well, this is one particular company, Lemonade, which I've been tracking for a few years now. And I also took it up. There's a Harvard business case study which I took up as a part of my B school, faculty experience. And this is, I mean, if anybody's interested in insurance, then you should definitely look up Lemonade and how they are changing the whole industry. Yeah.
Great to know that. Honestly, I didn't know them, but I will track now them, and I look at the use cases. It's good to know that there are people that doing great job on that space. I will request Sadiqi, if you, because I saw his camera is off, if you can switch on your camera and give us, share with us your experience about this. In your sector, probably more on the banking side, how do you see it? We can't hear you. I think you are muted, Sadiq.
Sorry. So I think in the banking side, all the companies are doing it. I would not want to name my competitors because one bank would not allow. So I would say that PAB is leading in all fronts, and in analytics, we are the most reputed bank in GCC, and we have a very big team working for analytics department, and we have built so many solutions which are reaping rewards for the bank. So like Pradeep said about chatbot, we have created a chatbot wherein the customers can get their answers directly instead of the call center being engaged. So we are trying to reduce the cost there from the call center side, and customer being self-served. Apart from that, all the models that we have created, we have tried to overutilize the model, wherein one use case which I was talking about, wherein we were trying to use the customer lifetime value uh, along with the next best offer model, wherein we know that this is the customer, and earlier people used only NBO in silos, wherein okay, you have called me, or you have come up through mobile banking or internet banking to me, and we will pop up that this is the next best offer for you. But if I know that what is the customer lifetime value, then I can have a targeted campaign for that specific customer, that okay, you are in the higher priority for me in the bank, so here are 3 products for you, and I can target those customers accordingly. So these kind of analytics practices we have created here in Fab, and I think we are leading firm for forefront.
Great, perfect. There was one important question which is linked to the concern or fear from AI adoption in the Gartner paper that I was mentioning before, and you can find it online. They were talking about the fear of adopting this technology, the understanding of the benefit and use cases, the security and the privacy concern, the potential of measuring this value. If I wanted to invest on something, I need to see what is the ROI, and also the risk or liability. If you do some prediction and the prediction is not as accurate as you would like, probably this has an impact on other business models or other areas. So from the technology partner, vendors, or providers, do you really think, if we want to be more precise about the challenges, do you really think that AI will be replacing the key functions in the new economy, in the knowledge-based industry? We were talking about the insurance before, functions like underwriting and claims and these things. Do you see these functions will be replaced, or you think that will be the AI component will be complementing the existing teams and capability? How do you see it, Jag?
Definitely. From this perspective, AI is taking a lot of, let's say, tasks from humans. It will not replace definitely human interaction in any industry. Some people will maybe find a different role or a better opportunity to do something else inside the company, and they will learn something new. So AI will be definitely a functional and a complementary essential software that should be adopted by any industry in the coming years. And like anything in our life, sometimes you do things in a way, after sometimes you're gonna do it in a different and better way. So this is how things gonna improve. And as you mentioned also, that for all organizations, time to market, or what you call that ROI, is very, very important and crucial. So even though agreeing on the output between IT and business is also a very important in such initiative and transformation projects. So definitely adopting these technologies, where we can see it nowadays in every organization. There is no CIO or CTO. It's not on his top of his mind, and this is where technology provider will play a major role in making these things happen.
Yeah, great, perfect. I think we have 5 minutes left before we conclude this amazing discussion. So I would request our esteemed panelists if they can share with us probably 1 minute each one, just to wrap up, in your view, if the organization should have a specific AI strategy at top level and doing the top-down strategy to the rest of the team to see the full picture, or is just another project within the company where you have to adopt a new, to implement a new solution. So I will start again with Siham, if you would like to wrap up and give us your view in 1 minute, please. Thank you. Siham? All right, let's go.
Sorry, while Siham is talking, just to know that participants not to leave anywhere, because in 4 minutes, automatically you will be divided in rooms for networking breakout, and I'm counting on you staying for this 20 minutes, 30 minutes time for networking, yeah? Thank you. Continue,
We'll be there, Muslim. Thank you. I'll go to Pradeep, please. Can you summarize your view, overall wrap up in 1 minute? Thank you.
Absolutely. So overall, my view is that there are lots of moving parts to any innovation, any new technology, right? And AI is just one another technology that we kind of need to be aware of, that we kind of need to study, right? I think if each of us adopts a growth mindset, learning mindset, then I think we'll be able to leverage AI to its fullest possible. But obviously, I think top down, the decision makers have to have a big picture strategy, and they have to be able to communicate it to the rest of the organization in order to make sure that that strategy is lived every single day by every single employee.
Perfect. Thank you. Jad, your conclusion, please.
Yes, based on what I have seen, organizations should have a full strategy, because it's gonna touch every single part of the business, every single department, every single business owner inside the organization. So an organization should have a full strategy on how to adopt these new technologies, and they need to find the right technology provider for the infrastructure in order to build on top of it their AI and ML strategies.
Thank you. Siddiqui, your turn.
So, yeah, so I think every organization should have a chief analytics officer, chief data officer, data governance managers, all those people to use maximum of the data. And also the CEO should be aligned with the data strategy that it should come from top down. So all the second down, third down should understand that they have to use the data daily in their lifestyle as a support business. So they can, the data team is enhancing or supporting or enabling them to do a better business.
Great. I think we missed Siham, so we will leave it here. Thank you all for your valuable contribution. This is an amazing topic. We will keep in touch, and I think there is a LinkedIn group in the chat. We can continue the discussion here. As I mentioned, this is very valuable discussion that we need to continue. I think we don't have any question from the audience. And just reiterate my congratulations for very professional for this amazing setup, and all the esteemed